Hey, every day is a great day to be a Warhawk, but today is really, really special. Fired up to introduce our new women's basketball coach, Scotty Fletcher. And you talk about energy, passion, grit, roll up your sleeves and go to work. This guy, y'all have heard me talk about glass half full. I think he's glass like 9/10 of the way full. His energy and passion is going to fit in so well here in our Warhawk family. His true family, his wife Lori over there, his Good morning. Hey, every day is a great day to be a Warhawk, but today is really, really special. Fired up to introduce our new women's basketball coach, Scotty Fletcher. And you talk about energy, passion, grit, roll up your sleeves and go to work. This guy, y'all have heard me talk about Good morning. Hey, every day is a great day to be a Warhawk, but today is really, really special. Fired up to introduce our new women's basketball coach, Scotty Fletcher. And you talk about energy, passion, grit, roll up your sleeves and go to work. This guy, y'all have heard me talk about glass half full. I think he's glass like 9/10 of the way full. His energy and passion is going to fit in so well here in our Warhawk family. His true family, his wife Lori over there, his coaches he's bringing with him, Coach K and Mindy. Gosh, I can't wait, and I can't even say I can't wait for him to get started, because since Friday they have been recruiting like crazy, already have some commitments, can't sign yet, but they're getting ready to, and just really excited about the future of Warhawk women's basketball. You know, I want to talk a little bit about the process if I can, and far different than the process was 2 years ago, and obviously this program has made great strides in the last 2 years. We had a ton of interest in the position in a very short amount of time. I know a couple of our friends in the media back there were like, "Hey John, you didn't waste any time in this process." I said, well, I didn't want to hurry it up to sacrifice hiring the right person. But with the transfer portal open, all the moving parts, I felt like it was really important that we got it done as quickly as we could. And I knew really quickly that Scotty was our guy. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He's going to tell you a whole lot more about his vision. But I've got to tell a couple of stories. So I first met Scotty, it was in 2007. He actually worked on the men's side for a while. One of his first jobs, he was a graduate assistant at Ole Miss on the men's basketball side for Andy Kennedy. I know there's some folks in the crowd who know Andy Kennedy. God bless him. Is there a medal that you got to wear for being a GA for Andy Kennedy for a while? There's a bunch of stories there. I'm not sure that most are PG, but no, I can remember Scotty. He was just so eager to do whatever it took to get the job done. And so fast forward, 18 years later, and I see what Scotty has become. But I'll be very candid. I really didn't know all the background story until, recently this past week. But I know one of the questions that came up in the interview process was, hey, Scotty, when we hear from players who played for you and who play for you, what is your connection? He's obviously got the gift of gab. He could sell ice to an Eskimo. There's no doubt about that. But people, and especially young people who are in the recruiting process, they see through that very quickly. So there's got to be substance there. What is that all about? Well, if you dig in and hear the story about Scotty Fletcher and being, between the 7th and 8th grade years in school and going to basketball camp and being dropped off for basketball camp by his mom and never seeing his mom again, and the hardship that was endured there, and then his dad passing away before he even got through high school. And a lot of people in situations like that would turn away from basketball. Not Scotty. Scotty has used that as a driving force and a connector to people to say, hey, we've all got challenges in life, and you can either feel sorry for yourself and spiral down, or you can use it as motivation and a driver. And I can tell you this, Scotty Fletcher has done that. If you look at his success as a head coach at Pearl River Community College, they went 27-3 this year, set an all-time school record for number of wins, least number of losses. I think the last 4 years, they're like 99-18, 97-18. So obviously, he's had success as a head coach. And, just since getting this deal done on Friday and hiring him, I can't tell you how excited I am about the future of our women's basketball program as it continues the rise that all of our sports are doing to elevate Warhawk athletics. So without further ado, I am so excited to introduce your new women's basketball coach, Coach Scotty Fletcher. Hey, we're supposed to get a photo op here. Martin, tell me if I'm doing this right. Here, you got to hold the side of it too. So. Good deal. All right, thank you.
Brother. I appreciate everybody for coming out. I've got a few notes because I can get excited. I promised my wife I wouldn't bark. I like to bark and get excited, and she said, you can't do that. You got to be very professional. But I guess first thing foremost, man, is just I would be remiss if I didn't say just thank you so much to John. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, to the people that were on this visit that were phenomenal. From the first time that I stepped foot on this campus, I just felt a connection. And so I just want to give a special shout out and just go through this list and just thank some people. And the reason why I want to do this is because I'm real big into music and different genres. And Kenny Chesney wrote a country song when he pulled up at Pittsburgh at the football stadium, and he said he was sitting in the front of the bus, and he said he was watching everybody on the bus go load up the stadium for his performance, and he says, I didn't get here alone. And that's the same way I feel. So I didn't get here alone. I may get a little bit of the spotlight, but there's so many people that believed and have believed in me and our vision for our women's basketball program. Not my vision, but our vision. And I'm just so thankful to John that he was able to allow me to share a vision that I have for our community, for our university, for our women's basketball team, and to be partners with everybody here on campus. So first and foremost, thank you so much, Mr. John. Thank you, Coleman, Carmen, Carlin, Martin, Emma Grace, and Michael for a first-class and warm visit. Martin and I, man, we hit it off at lunch and had a great time. Then Michael and we were late to everything because we kept talking about hunting stories, and we just really, really enjoyed our time together. So I definitely gained a friend there, and then obviously got a chance to meet Coach Vincent at dinner, and his son, first class, you could just tell. And I felt bad when I went to breakfast with Coleman. I was spitting. I was so excited, and he was backing up against the wall, and I said, man, I'm sorry. I'm just so passionate, and I know he was thinking, man, this guy's on 10, but this is me all the time, and if I take a little ibuprofen, I'll bounce back. But even with Carmen and Carlin, I felt at home, and I could tell their passion for this place is like no other. So thank you guys so much. I would also be remiss if I didn't say a special thank you to the two presidents that I worked for and hired at Pearl River Community College. Um, you know, the biggest thing you can look for, and I wasn't really emotional before I started coaching women. I got to admit that. So that's been awesome for me. I think I cried one time in 8 years of coaching guys, but man, women, I cry all the time, and sometimes just cry just to cry, but it's just happiness. But you know, all you can ask for as a young coach is for somebody to believe in your vision and give you that support. And Coach Cunningham, I watched his press conference, and he talked about fuel coming from your boss, and he's exactly right. And it's jet fuel for even somebody. And as a player, all you want is somebody to believe. Your players want them to know that their coach believes in them, and it goes both ways. So I'm very appreciative for Dr. Lewis and Dr. Breerwood at Pearl River, the AD Jason Francis that hired me, our administration, our colleagues, staff, the SID department there, of course, all the players. Without the players and the coaches, none of this would be possible. Their families, the band. We had a rocking home court environment, and I'm very appreciative for everything that we accomplished together. My college coach, Steve Knight, he was somebody that coached me, also gave me a chance to work for him. I'm very appreciative for him. Andy Kennedy, Bill Armstrong gave me my very first GA job. I showed up to work camp up there, and they didn't have enough campers, and they said, we can't pay. And I said, that's okay, when can I start? So I worked the first camp for free, and when I left, they gave me some gear. They gave me some tennis shoes, some basketball shorts that were, of course, extremely baggy, and I just thought that was awesome. So very appreciative for them, and then James Green for believing me as a young coach. One neat story I got to share with John, because this just resonates with me on who he is, and obviously this is, you know, from a basketball standpoint, with his background in basketball, it's a dream come true to work and have a boss like that to work for him. So when I was a GA at Ole Miss, obviously John's stature, I'm green, I'm innocent. You know, he invites us over as a staff on a Friday night to his house to cook steaks and hang out. And so they're like, Fletcher, you can come. So, of course, I was nervous, like, you know, John's position, here I am, 5'8" on a good day, like I am nervous. So we go over there, and I guess, you know, I didn't say nothing. I was just looking around. Man, it's a beautiful home. This is awesome. Like, man, I'm really here. Like, I'm thinking I needed to be preparing the meal or doing something because of my role as a GA. And I guess John just sensed that I was nervous, and he went out of his way to make me feel like one of the guys. And that has been something that has stuck with me throughout my whole coaching career, that in that position, because a lot of times, you know, that person, that GA, may not get the, attention or the camaraderie, but he made me feel like I was one of the guys in that moment. It really meant a lot to me, and that's something that that's never left me. So I wanted to share that story because it means so much to me. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Coach Bilderback and the job that she did here. She and I was best friends with her brother. We would ride the bus home from school every day, and so I've known that family for a long time and used to spend the night at their house, and so she and I go way back, so I would be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to the job that she's done. To my parents, man, obviously you heard the story, and it's sad, and I don't want to get emotional, but again, I had great parents. My mom was just awesome. I mean, she worked in a flower bed the week that she passed to buy me shoes for camp, so that's definitely my why each and every day. To my wife, you know, John asked, he said, what's your vision for recruiting? I said, well, when we get on campus and you see Miss Lori, I promise you'll understand that I have a vision for recruiting. And so he said, did you really play basketball in college? He said, I think you were a punter because you definitely outkicked your coverage. So I know I look like a fullback some days and a catcher on other days, but Lori has been phenomenal. I always joke and say that, you know, when I started coaching women, and I share this with Carmen and Carlin, but you know, it was the neatest thing because it healed me in so many areas from losing both of my parents at a young age. And I love being transparent about my past because that allows you to know who Scotty Fletcher is. And I think it's important that, you know, imperfect people want to talk to imperfect people, and we're all imperfect. And I think the more you share your story, you can knock down those walls and build real relationships with the people in your department, on your team, and that's very critical for success. So definitely Lori and Caitlin have been just a blessing like no other. My in-laws have been nothing short of amazing. My Uncle Rick and his wife Stacy are here. My uncle stepped in the gap. They did. When I lost my mom, that was their sister. She was 36 when she passed. They stepped up. They've been phenomenal. Now Coach Mack, been with me 4 years. Neat story. We had a phone conversation. She accepts the job. I don't wait on it. Then a few weeks later, she takes a Division I assistant job. She actually comes back to me, moves to Poplarville in a cow trailer, and unloaded, didn't even ask how much money she was making, just rolled up our sleeves and we went to work. And 4 years later, like John said, we've been 98-17 and 50-6 in conference play and won 3 of our last 4 conference championships. She's my right hand. It's a female version of me. We finish each other's sentences. Pistol Pete was our favorite basketball player, so there's a lot of love and respect there. Coach K has been phenomenal. Works the girls out, player development. Her family is awesome. Her grandmother is even better. I can't wait for the fans to see her grandmother. And she's from here, so she's from Ouachita Parish, but she's funny. Her grandmother, and Lori always says, that's her grandmother coming out of her. So very excited that they'll be joining me. And like I said earlier, I couldn't have done this alone, so very appreciative of them. Now, Coach Cunningham, I got to give a special shout out to Coach Cunningham. So got to tell a funny joke on myself. So Coach Cunningham and I go way back. So we go to the Final Four in Indianapolis, and I brought this story up the other day. So we go and tour. We had the Adidas coaches party, and so we go to the Adidas factory, and they tell us to pick out 7 free garments. Okay, so Coach and I are walking around, and we're talking about ball, and of course I'm networking at the time because I'm knowing, Coach, hey, you need somebody? I'm trying. So he says, Fletch, what you gonna get in here? And I thought, well, I know where he's going with this. So I pick out a shirt, and at the time, the Adidas had the NBA contract. And he says, why don't you try that on? And I tried it on. Of course, it was an XLT, and it came all the way off my arms. And at the time, he said, Jarvis Bernardo, who was Mississippi State's all-time leading shot blocker, he said, I think he'd be the only guy that could fit that, Fletch. He said, you may want to give that to your players. So just a lot of respect and admiration for just Coach Cunningham and who he is as a person. He's always been the most just high-character guy. Every time you see him, he's always smiling. He's a ray of sunshine. So definitely look forward to working with you, Coach. Coach Vincent, like I said earlier, our football coach at Pearl River, spoke very highly of him. Coach said he was the only guy that he knew that ran the wing tee in a 7-on-7 camp. I went back and told Seth Smith that. He left. He said he knows me right. So you've done a phenomenal job in this community, and I look forward to partnering and working with you in any way possible. It's a dream job, and I don't take that lightly. And what I mean by that is when you play sports, you grow up in your driveway, you grow up in your backyard, and you count down hitting the game-winning shot, right? And I did it when I was a little kid. I was beating Duke or Carolina or the Lakers or the Celtics. And so as a little kid, I grew up on a dirt road with a basketball in one hand and a dream in the other. And I told my parents, and all my family played baseball. My uncle played AAA ball with the Mets, was teammates with Billy Bean, Darryl Strawberry, and all them. So baseball was kind of in our family, and basketball was my passion. I remember telling my parents out there in the yard that I was going to be a Division I basketball coach, and at a young age, and I just remember them looking at me like, that's you're probably not going to play basketball. But so basketball was my way out, is how I channeled everything. And like I mentioned earlier, just want to be heavily involved in the community here on campus. You'll see our girls at every event. We open car doors. There's 2 types of people in life that I feel like, people that want things to happen and people that make things happen. We make things happen. We're a staff that's going to get more done with less. We're never going to use what we don't have as an excuse. That's not how. You can't be distracted by those things. You've got to roll up your sleeves and you've got to go to work. And winners win. At the end of the day, winners win. And you can't talk winning with losers, and I've learned that. And everybody's not going to have the same vision. They're not going to be aligned. They're not going to be chasing the same thing. We built a very family-oriented staff, a very family-oriented thing with our team. The girls will come over to the house, wash their cars, hang out, watch basketball. My wife bakes cookies. We take girls to church if they want to go. We don't force them, but we're just heavily involved. We're trying to make the difference in these young people's lives. That those coaches that stood in the gap have made a difference in my life. And when you align yourself with the right people, and the reason why this place is a gold mine, in my opinion, and I got on my voicemail, come on down to the bayou, come on down to the bayou, and my mother-in-law said, are you really going to? I said, absolutely. And the reason why is this place is special, and when you have special people, that's what makes a place special. It's not always the facilities and the buildings, it's the people that make a place special. And when you do that, you have a chance to make special memories together. And there's no other time here that we will make special memories together because of the special people that are at this place, and which makes it a special place. In terms of our style of play, we're going to be very aggressive on the defensive end. We've led the country in defense and points per game allowed and field goal percentage, and that's that toughness, that's effort. We had a Division I coach in the SEC that came and watched us practice, and he said, are you guys like this every day? And I said, Coach, no disrespect, but we didn't put on a show just because you were here. This is who we are. I mean, we will get down and guard for 94 feet. We'll have active hands. I sent John that in our initial message, and that's not lip service. We'll take charges on the defensive end. We're going to play the game the right way, but we're going to be very aggressive, and we're going to make it very challenging for a team to come in here and every bounce that they take and every cut that they make and every pass that they make, they're going to be challenged defensively. And I just think defense is a great substitute for a bad offense some nights when you're off on your offensive end. So we're going to sit down and we're going to guard. And there was a method that we figured out what works for us. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about visiting with the players and sharing that vision. I guess the only other thing I would say is, what are your core values? Coach, you talked about the prone relationship as it relates to the Marines. And ours is simple, man. Like you said, you're right. You got to have talent. I didn't score a bucket this year and won't score a bucket next year. So you got to have players that are talented. But you got to have a buy-in. That team, we always talk about being the best team we can be, and we're going to be the best team. When you're the best team and you've got a supreme discipline and elite focus, you can be tough to beat. And that's our goal. You don't always want to be tough to beat. But we're going to have self-discipline, which is extremely important. Personal accountability. I think there's sometimes people talk about accountability, but you got to get buy-in for personal accountability. All right? And that's just being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do, and how you're supposed to do it the right way at all times. And that's part of winning. That's the difference. When I go and watch practices, it drives me bananas when I see coaches run the baseline and a kid will run all the way down there but won't touch the line. And I'm like, man, you ran all the way down there but you didn't touch the line. If you just run to half court, if you're going to run all the way down there and not touch the line, how can I count on you to get that rebound late in the game, to get your defensive assignment, to rotate the proper way? All those details matter. And what that does when you have self-discipline and personal accountability, it creates a level of toughness. And I just think in today's society, if you're tough to beat, people don't want to play you. So we're going to have that mindset here. Like John said, we've hit the ground running. From a recruiting standpoint, we've got some girls that played for us that have been heavily recruited in this league. We got several girls that are playing in this league and playing in leagues outside of this league that are itching to come and join us, and that's an exciting time for sure. The only thing I'd like to say is this is a true honor that I don't take lightly. I won't let you guys down, and I promise you that you'll be proud of the brand that we put on the floor. And I look at us sharing memories together and winning together and being at a special place. And so with that being said, go Warhawks. I'm fired up, and so I say the bar for last. So thank you.